Hi everyone, welcome back to the Nervape podcast. This is the story series of the Nervape podcast where we're reading stories from the Nervape Saga, which is a multi-chapter, multi-story narrative with apes who are trying to reach the mysterious third continent. We last left off at story number 3 called Zapped, and Cookie, Dev, and Cookie's dog Chip have all been zapped by a mysterious stranger with a face shield on on his head, whose name is Kraft. We're going to learn more about Kraft in this story, and I'm so happy to be joined by the writers Nerdape and Piyo. Hi, would the both of you like to say hello?
Hello, I'm Nerdape. I'm a co-writer of the Nervape Saga.
Hi everyone, my name is Piyo. Likewise, I am also the co-writer of the Nervape Saga.
Awesome, great. And without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and read the log line, friend or foe. Story number 4. Captured by the mechanic on a self-driving van, Dev, Cookie, and Chip learned they are part of his unexpected plan. And we have emoji of orangutan, a bus or car vehicle, and then an emoji of a mushroom. Ooh, what's that all about? So let's go ahead and read. Story number 4, friend or foe. My name is Kraft. We are going to the chocolate banana factory. The figure loomed over them, his face covered by a face shield. Just then, went over a bump, and Dev and Cookie bounced up, nearly hitting each other's heads. Ah, what on earth is going on, and who are you? Dev demanded. He heard the electrical motors humming. Dev squinted his eyes and looked around. They were held in restraints on the bed of a large mecha van, quickly making its way through the banana plantation. There's no time for questions. The figure spoke calmly and turned around to tinker with a drone. Cookie looked to the front for the driver of the truck and saw no one. Ahead, a harvester robot stood in their direct path. They were getting closer and closer. It was about to hit them. Cookie gasped and held Chip tightly, closing his eyes. Dev braced himself for impact. Just when they thought they were about to crash, the van made a sharp turn on its own, missing the robot by an inch. Kraft appeared amused, a faint smirk on his face. My B-van requires no driver. Let us go, you creep. At least tell us why you're taking us to the factory, Dev demanded. Kraft continued to inspect and tend to his drones, ignoring Dev. Cookie nudged Dev to point at a flyer on Kraft's work desk. On the flyer were the words, wanted, escaped criminal apes with one dog wanted for Factory 8 misconduct. Hefty reward. Dev, Cookie, and Chip's factory ID photos were printed on the poster. Dev cursed. Cookie shushed him quickly. Cookie cleared his throat. Mr. Kraft, I apologize for my friend's remarks. He did not mean to insult you. We come in peace. Despite what you may have seen on the flyer, we are good-natured apes, one with a dream. And by that, I mean a real dream, a destination. So it isn't really an escape, but a journey, one filled with hope and friendship. You seem like a reasonable man of craft and intelligence and intellect. Perhaps you would like to join us. Have you heard of the third continent, Mr. Kraft? Dev nearly choked on his spit. What was Cookie doing? Kraft paused his activities and turned around. The dream, a dragon, the monolith. Kraft murmured as if to himself. You've seen the dream too? Dev interjected. We're headed to the third continent. You must come with us, Mr. Kraft. We could really use your help, but we have to turn this car around. The desert is westwards. Cookie's eyes grew wide and sparkly. There's nothing in the desert, Kraft replied. That dream took place there, Dev inquired. My drones have searched across all of our deserts. The third continent is not in this world. What? Cookie was flabbergasted. This is the only world there is, Dev stated. I saw her, Kraft said abruptly. Who? Cookie asked, excited. The girl who stole our snacks. She stole from our locations all the time. At the time, I investigated, Kraft replied. Dev and Cookie looked at each other. Dev finally noticed the familiar factory insignia on the pin Kraft wore. So you're a factory mechanic. Neato, Cookie chimed in. Dev gave Cookie a side eye, but Kraft had a pleased smirk again. My drones almost caught her, but she opened a portal and got away. Caught a glimpse of the chocolate bananas where she was headed. A portal? Nonsense, Dev rolled his eyes. I've never known anyone that could open a portal. If she could use it to travel between spaces, it definitely makes sense that she's from another world, mused Cookie. Outside of this world, there must exist technologies and gadgets far greater than anything we can imagine. In the third continent, I'll build even more advanced, complex machines. Kraft's steely eyes softened slightly as he said this, a statement from within. And I'll be able to provide a better future for my family, Cookie smiled. Is all of your family in Factory 8? Asked Dev. No, they're all scattered in other factories, even my little siblings. They're just kids. Every day is the same old grind for them, said Cookie. Working nonstop, with no time to live or dream, finished Dev. Yes, this is all there is to it. I've wondered for the longest time. I want to save them and provide a better future for them. There was a silent moment as the three continued to be rocked slightly by the van. Dev looked at his hands, recalling the inexplicable sensation of fulfillment. He looked at Kraft, determined. I know my way around Factory 8 inside and out. All the hidden pathways, escape routes, surveillance areas, and control room. That's how I got out. Do you really think you can get around that place without knowing this? Kraft fell silent for a moment. After some time, he turned his back on Dev and Cookie. Okay, we will work together. Dev held out his arms, expecting Kraft to release him. Kraft shook his head. I will come back for you. What? But first, I must have you both captured, Kraft replied. Dev and Cookie could now see the chocolate banana factory just a few miles ahead, quickly approaching. Dev felt alarmed. No, not this place again. After all he did to get away. This is insane. Let me go. Dev, no, Cookie called out. Dev lashed out with all his might, breaking free from his leg restraints. He charged towards Kraft in a wild frenzy, but tumbled as he stepped on the drone on the floor that Kraft was fixing. He did a barrel roll and nearly fell off the bed of the truck. Kraft looked somber for a brief second, but quickly picked up his controller. His other drone promptly zapped Dev, Cookie, and Chip yet again. The three fell unconscious. Waking up, still feeling small pulses of electricity yet again, this time with a wet sensation on the face and a hot, bad smell. The interrogator's dog dribbled on Dev's cheek, leaving large globs of mucus-like saliva. Dev jolted up and pushed the creature away. Ew, hot drool. Cookie and Chip awoke at the same time from the warrior's growl that shook the cell. Wake up, wake up. The warrior ape's large and stumpy hands smacked Cookie and Chip in the face repeatedly. The three awoke to find themselves in a large, cold gray cell in Factory 8. Kraft was nowhere to be seen. They were in restraints yet again, and now a gargantuan warrior ape wearing a scouter towered nearby. In front of them, a short and stern-looking ape with a helmet and a badge crossed his arms, while his similarly helmet-wearing dog sat beside him, panting. He marched towards Dev and Cookie as his dog followed. Tell me, was it you numb-knuckle apes that caused the explosion? The ape demanded. A brief pause. No, Dev answered. The dog studied Dev, then barked. Lies! The warrior's giant hand clutched Dev by the nape to lift him up in a single swoop. He tightened his grip, and Dev could barely breathe. Okay, yes, it was me, he sputtered. The interrogator glanced at the dog, who remained silent. The warrior let go of Dev, who landed on the ground coughing. The interrogator ape locked eyes with Cookie. Were you an accomplice? No, Cookie answered. The dog let out a sharp huff through its snout, but did not bark. Why then did you run away? Cookie was silent. I wanted to take my dog for a walk. The interrogator's dog's ears perked up and its tail momentarily wagged at the last word, but stopped as soon as his owner threw down a death stare. The dog immediately reverted back into work mode and barked loudly. Without missing a beat, the warrior punched a hole in the wall next to Cookie. Wah! No violence, please. Okay, I had a dream. Cookie started awkwardly. This isn't time for a speech. Answer my question. The interrogator ape was inches away from Cookie's face, spitting in rage. Chip barked at the ape, and the warrior leaned back, ready to slug the Shiba into oblivion. Don't hurt him. He's just hungry. He hasn't eaten in so long. Here, will you please give him the mushroom in my pocket? Cookie pleaded. The interrogator ape laughed, and a deep belly laugh, and walked over to Cookie, reaching into his pocket and grabbing the mushroom with his hands. You think you're in a place to ask favors? He snarled and handed the mushroom to the warrior. The warrior put the mushroom up to his face and sniffed and sniffed. Suddenly, the most entranced expression filled the warrior's face. Seeing this, the interrogator marched over and also took a whiff. Heavenly smell, like the ripest strawberry and cinnamon bun dancing on a cloud of cotton candy. The dog also inhaled deeply, drooling and taking in as much of the delicious scent as it could. All three of them crowded near the mushroom like bees to a flower. No, wait! Cookie called out, but it was too late. The three of them bit into the mushroom with great vigor and swallowed it. As soon as they tore into the flesh of the sweet-smelling mushroom, they realized something was amiss. The interrogator grimaced. The warrior's gargantuan body froze up. The dog gagged. A bitter, paralyzing liquid filled their mouths and down their throats, quickly spreading through their limbs. The interrogator tried to yell for his dog and the warrior to attack Dev and Cookie, but he could not do so. The Paopupu mushroom turned their body into jello, and the interrogator, his dog, and the warrior all tumbled to the ground, paralyzed. I was going to say, there's a right way to eat these. Cookie shrugged as he looked down at the immobilized, twitching interrogator ape, now lying next to Chip. Chip, get those keys, please. Cookie called out cheerfully, and Chip grabbed the keys from the paralyzed warrior with his jaws and unlocked Cookie's restraints from nearby. Very good, Chip. Cookie took the key from Chip and freed Dev. Oh, that was insane. What was that thing? Asked Dev. The Paopupu mushroom is found growing in deep forests with minimal sunlight. The mushroom emits a tantalizing sweet smell, but it unleashes an unbelievably bitter taste and paralyzing spores if it's not eaten correctly. The correct way to eat it is quite simple. Backwards, or stem first, Cookie explained proudly. All right, so this freaky poison mushroom has saved us, but who knows when the others will show up. Let's get out of this factory and fast. Dev started towards the stairs. Cookie grabbed his wrist. No, Dev, we should look for Kraft. He's going to come back for us, remember? We have to find the girl with him. Do you really believe that guy? He is probably just lying. He captured us and zapped us. Not once, but twice. How naive can you be? This is our only chance to leave, and you want to stay? Kraft saw the dream too, Dev. We're all on this journey together. He's our friend, and he's going to return for us. We have to find him. No, we got caught with this guy, and look what happened. Back at the very place I nearly died trying to get out of. I know now I can only trust myself. I'm getting out of here and finding the third continent, and if I have to do it alone, so be it. Dev grabbed the warrior scouter and his laptop and pushed Cookie aside. He started quickly up the stairs, not turning back. The two apes that once joined together for the same dream separated abruptly as their desires divulged. Okay, end. So that's the ending of story number 4, Friend or Foe. For this story, there's a lot of stuff going on. So before, for our listeners who didn't hear our last episode, and if you haven't, we really recommend that you do. Please listen to story 3, our story 3 podcast, which was Zapped. That will give you some context for this story. But for those of you who are just joining us, can you please introduce yourselves again and just a little bit about your involvement with Nervape, the project?
Oh, so hi, I'm Nerdape. I'm a co-writer of the Nervape Saga.
Cool, and Piyo.
Yeah, hi everyone. My name is Piyo, and I am also the co-writer of the Nervape Saga.
Right, great. And then in the last episode, we caught a glimpse of Kraft, and for this one, we get a look into who he is. Can you tell us a little bit about this character, Kraft? Who is Kraft? He's a mechanic, or what's a mechanic, and what do mechanics do in this world? Yeah, I'm curious to know about that. Yeah, I guess maybe Pio, you want to start?
Yeah, sure. So I guess we were kind of thinking, I think actually, yeah, Nerdape, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think this was also one of the characters that we initially had proposed by Echo and the team. And we were also thinking of putting it in a mechanic. Is that correct?
Yeah, exactly. I think yeah, that's one of the character proposed by the team. And then so this character, he's supposed to be someone that could fix things, but then he can also create. So basically he's like an engineer in the Nervape world.
Right. And if I know Echo was telling me how some of these characters are based off of real people. Is that something you want to mention, or is that kind of a secret? I mean, we don't have to say the person's name, but like, is it true that some of these characters have like real life inspirations?
I think yes and no. So basically, first of all, we created a character. I mean, based on what makes sense for the character and what makes sense for the story. But on the other hand, I think each of the team member kind of like there's like one ape that they like kind of like identify with. So this character is basically kind of reflect the personality of one of our team member who's like really good at their craft, but then like I mean they don't really speak much. I mean they just like really focus on their craft and improving their craft.
Ah, interesting. Maybe more of an introverted person might really connect with this character Kraft, I guess, or find like
Yeah,
a strong connection
yeah,
with this character.
yeah. But also when we were creating this character, we are also hoping that like each of these character can be relatable to, I mean, not of course not just our team member, but to our readers, that they can find someone there in the Nervape Saga that they can really connect.
Got it. So for like so going back to like in the last podcast we talked about imagery. So we have some really cool imagery here. We have like this bee van, like this automated car. Like I'm very curious, like the bee vans, the bee boats, like who comes up with these cool technologies of this world? Is that something that you both come up with, or is that something with the team? I'm just curious about that. Yeah.
So at that time, we're just like trying to like create really cool props in the stories, and obviously everything about this chocolate, I mean banana factory world is banana. So basically everything is inspired by banana. And so
Mm.
it has like a banana-ish design, it has to do with banana. But also specifically with this van, like when I was like imagining the factory world, I was imagining like the technology level is really not like present day. So I imagine something that's like probably in the 80s. And then also one of the inspiration for the B van is well, this is when Dragon Balls will come in, is the Red Ribbon Army. I don't know if you read it like in the earlier volume of Dragon Ball. So they have this like enemy, and then like I was imagining like their design is something that's that could be kind of similar to what we have in the factory world.
Isn't that like it's almost like the Nazis kind of? Is that
I don't know if they're Nazi or not,
Red
but
Ribbon
yeah,
Army?
yeah. I mean, yeah, I was imagining the technology level and like the design, the look of it is something that's kind of like inspired by it.
Oh, sorry. No, that's another there's like another character that's kind of like a Nazi, but that's like the early Dragon Ball. Um but yeah, okay. No, I don't know about the Red
Now we
Ribbon
have to
Army.
go back and
Yeah. Have to get rid of that. Like there's a character in like here I'm on the Dragon Ball wiki. There's like the dictator character, which is obviously like, Hitler, right? So anyways, That's interesting how anyway, sorry, I'm digress. For the characters, like so we talked about Cookie's family in the last episode a bit, and in story 3 episode. And you know, like, is there something that the both of you are trying to say about like work culture, like child labor? Like he's complaining about like, man, you know, my siblings who are just kids have to work. Like I'm kind of curious because when I first read that, it made me think about like, yeah, those things like you know, toxic work culture. I know like in China, there's like something called like 九九六还是什么. Yeah, it's like you have to work or you have to work at least 9 hours a day, six or like was it 7 days a week or something like that. Basically, oh, 9 to 9, 6 days a week is what it means. Like 9 to 9, 6 days a week. So like I mean, are you and then like they're kids that have to work. So is that something that you both are trying to talk about? Is that something you discussed in the brainstorming part of the story? I'm curious to hear about that. Yeah.
We didn't go that deep into like specifically thinking about, oh, this is about child labor, this is specifically about work culture, but so basically Cooking and Dab and like basically all these Nervapes in different world, there's gotta be a reason for them to seek a better life. So for them, like in this factory, what the problem is that yes, they're overworked and then they don't really get fair compensation for their work. And that's essentially why they want to seek a better life. It's like people in real life, like for Web3, that could be an escape, that could be a seek of a different life. I mean, that's like they're not content about their present life and they want to see something better. And for the factory world, it's just somewhere that like basically, yes, you're overworked and you don't get fair compensation. How do you fix that problem? Like if you can't fix it here, then you have to step out of your comfort zone. You have to go somewhere else. You have to look for new things. You have to build that thing.
Okay, gotcha. And
Yeah.
this, yeah, sorry, go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say, without I don't think we really specifically, sought out to like, make a statement about child labor or overwork, but I think, you're right in that these are themes that do exist, in our real world too, and that some people like, have their own sentiments towards work culture or overwork or have even experienced those types of situations themselves. And so we find that to be something kind of relatable that, people can feel and, existing in this society that we also kind of wanted to reflect. And I think, the factory overall sort of represents this world that's structured in a way where, workers, don't really like as a result of the work that they have to do and like how it's structured, they don't really have the time or energy later on to sort of pursue their true hopes and dreams too, or have the resources to do so. So it's like this feeling of kind of being stuck, of being, kind of not able to reach your true potential and, kind of manifest your dreams is the kind of feeling that we wanted to convey.
Right, like this the fact the stories in this section of the Nervape Saga is under the umbrella of factories of broken dreams. So yeah, I guess that kind of says it, right? Like it feels like these factories and this are kind of like stepping on the dreams of their workers. So yeah, okay. So let's move on to, I'm curious about like if I had this question for both of you, like, and I asked Echo this too, like if you were Dev, right, and you were like, oh, you did this major screw up at the factory, would you like, okay, you're gonna leave everything and just escape? Like, I'd be curious to hear both of your thoughts on like, if you were Dev, would you choose to escape or would you stay and try to face the consequences? Because stepping out and like leaving this life that you've known your whole life, it's pretty scary, right? At the same time, so is facing, maybe the paying these really, really hefty fines, or maybe even get fired or worse as Dev after this big screw up. So I'm kind of curious to hear both of you. If you were Dev, would you run away and escape, or would you try to stay and face face the fire, I guess.
For me, I would definitely escape. I mean, because this is factory, yeah, that's all he know. So he's like he grew up, he was born and raised there. That's like the world that he knew. But that like deep down, it's also like, I mean, not that, but for me, I think it's just like, okay, if I don't go, like what is there for me? There's like
Mm,
really, it just doesn't really seem like there's like really much that I have. So if you really compare it, like just kind of weigh it, it just doesn't look like there's like really any other choice.
gotcha. And then Pio?
Yeah, I think for me too, it might, I don't know if it'll play out exactly in the way it did for Dev. It may be kind of like a, multi-part process where I kind of seem as though I am like accepting it, but then actually plan for my escape and,
Oh.
have that going on. Um, yeah, it'll be interesting, but yeah, I think I don't know how good I would be at navigating the B boat and, you know, going up against the race with Cookie, but that,
Mm,
that we really liked writing that scene too, so that would be fun to
Yeah,
participate in.
mm.
yeah. I don't know if I have the scale of escaping the factory. Like how do I break into the code? But but then like maybe I should just like friend someone else. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, even though he did escape, he did have some issues with that B boat. Sounds like the B boat's not that easy to drive. It sounds like he's like pressing the music button. Um, cool. And I think we're gonna have to, for time's sake, we're gonna skip some of these. I had some other questions, but I want to get to like some the important stuff, like the dog is a lie detector test. Like, where did this idea come from? I really like this idea.
Mhm. Um, I think I'm just trying to think, like remember how it was, but I think I think I wanted to use a dog, and in some ways, I think we were thinking of it as sort of a, a, a contrast with Chip too, which is like the other dog
Uh,
that Cookie has. That's kind of like his companion, like a good dog, bad dog. But then I feel like even the bad dogs, maybe this is also like my personal sort of affinity and affection towards animals like
mm.
coming out, but it's like I feel like even the bad dogs are good dogs too. In some way, or I wanted it to be that way. So we were kind of talking about like, oh, and like I kind of thought, oh, it would be kind of funny if like the dog, like it just can't help it, like it's like has like it's a dog and it's just gonna wag its tail if it's happy about something, the
Oh.
way we see dogs are in like real life, and it'd be funny if it's kind of like giving away, the the real or truth, like the truth or lie, and having that be part of this like interrogation scene. I thought it would be kind of funny.
Yeah, when you mentioned it's like taking a walk, right? The dog
Yeah.
starts like, "Oh, well, I want to go for a walk too."
Yeah, it's like his ears perking up.
And then for like the mushroom, like it seems like now that I think about it, it's very strange rule to eat a mushroom backwards. It's hilarious, but it's like very strange. Where did that come from? Yeah, the Paopupu mushroom.
I think we were just kind of thinking about like yeah, like like it's just sort of an interesting gimmick that people wouldn't normally think of, but I think it also ties in with like kind of finding out more about Cookie here, and how he's actually quite knowledgeable about this Paopupu mushroom too.
Oh, okay.
And then this kind of shows, so originally, this is like it was growing around his grandparents like house, like in their backyard or something, and then so he kind of grew up with that and like knows that from his like close ties with his family. And
Hmm.
so, and it kind of shows like his sort of zany, quirky nature, and like how he might be sort of like a nerd about some things too. in a way that's sort of unexpected. And so yeah, we kind of wanted to have this kind of funky element. Maybe in some ways, like not in some ways kind of One Piece inspired too, like like eating something that does something
Oh, like a
kind
devil
of
fruit or
wacky.
something. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
I think some of that was also maybe in the back of our minds.
And he keeps it in his, okay, sorry, this is my writer side coming out. He keeps it in his pockets, like he has pockets. Like how does that work? Like, do the Nervapes have pockets? I sorry, I like these little details I always like pick at with like stories.
I don't know how exactly he is designed, but in my head, I always thought of Cookie wearing overalls with pockets.
Ah, Nerdape, is that your vision too, or
Yes.
pass?
But also I think there's just a lot about Cookie that we don't know yet.
Got it.
It's yeah, you have to keep reading.
Got it. Okay, okay. So I'm gonna try to wrap this up in like 3 minutes or so. So in your own words, like we know so far we learned a little bit about Kraft, but we've spent the most time so far with Dev and Cookie. So who what would you say are like the main differences between Dev and Cookie? We see a major split at the end of this story. Like, are there any themes that you're trying to express with like the difference of these personalities? Like one's a realist and one's like a dreamer, or I'm kind of curious to hear about your thoughts about the tension between these two characters now.
Yeah, like you said, Dab is definitely like he's goal oriented. He does care about other people. He cares about his friends. But on the other hand, he's more self-centered. But Cookie, he's like on the other end of the spectrum. He's like he cares deeply about his friend. He's really loyal. While he's a rookie, but then he's just one of those people that wouldn't let people behind. Like he take care of his friends. Like even if it's like he's not as skilled as Dab. Like Dab is like he's a really good programmer. He's a good developer. Cookie on the other hand, he's just a rookie. He doesn't really have like a specialty. But for him, his personality is just like really different from Dab. And also Dab is like kind of he could be like skeptic of things and he's not really optimistic. He doesn't really trust people. So I guess trust is also one of the underlying theme here.
Mm,
Like Cookie trusts people, he trusts Kraft, but Dav is like, okay, this guy kidnapped us. why should we trust this guy?
right.
And yeah.
Cool. So for the both of you, what are something that you hope the audiences, readers get from reading the Nervape Saga? Being the writers, I know writers have, maybe they some writers say, okay, it's up to your interpretation. We hope whatever you get, like that's what you get. Whereas, maybe you have like something that you hope that readers can take away something from the story. You mentioned bravery and courage earlier. In your own words, what's something that you hope readers can gain from the story, the Nervape Saga?
For me, I just hope that this could be a fun ride for the reader. That this is like something fun, entertaining, but in the meantime, I hope that they can like really relate to some of these characters. Like for example, like Cookie, okay, he's like not really like specifically good at anything, but then sometimes he could be a leader, he cares about his friend, and he really kind of like is one of the characters that drive the story forward. So there's like, and sometimes like even if you're like self-centered, like if you're like that, but then there's like always something good about you. And then of course like hope and bravery, that's like something that I hope the readers can get. That's like something that can really guide people. I mean, it's just like not only in the story but in real life. I think those are two very important elements in our life.
And then Pio, your thoughts?
Yeah, for me, I really hope people also just have a great time reading and getting to know these characters and kind of joining them on this very wacky, zany, like unpredictable adventure that's really going to take them through these different types of worlds, through different dimensions to like all these like really unexplored, uncharted territory. And that's not going to be an easy task to do. And also kind of like what Nerdape said as well is like I hope that readers can kind of find their favorite character too and favorite ape that they can really kind of see themselves and relate with because I think we kind of made that we have that in mind too to like have these very distinct personalities and characters where everyone kind of has their own quirks but also like has their own very clear like strengths and weaknesses too but kind of working together with each other and without each other. This is kind of where like their true personality shines and really helps push the stories along. And that's like a part of the big kind of themes of friendship and also kind of trusting and also like self-discovery as well as kind of reflecting on like what one's like own desires or what their own dreams and hopes are and like how can we best express that in our life and in this world is like some of the themes that we were thinking about. So we hope that readers will ponder this as well as they go along with the apes in this saga.
Awesome. Yeah, I can't think of a better way to end this episode. Yes, follow your dreams, kids. Follow find your friends, follow your dreams. And thank you so much, Nerdape and Pio. I really appreciate you taking the time for this. And yeah, without further ado, this is the end of story 4, and then we'll be coming back with story readings of story 5 and story 6, and the rest of the Nervape Saga coming in the near future. So thank you again. And all right, yeah. Any last thoughts? Yeah.
Yeah, hope you guys keep reading and enjoying this awesome story.
Thank you. And Nerdape?
Yep, same here. I hope that this is entertaining for readers and yeah, hope that you keep reading and then find more surprises.
Awesome. Thank you so much. All right. Bye-bye. See you.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
James.
Bye-bye.
Bye.